impacting on the Muslims. They were dying with your pig insulin, and they don't care. And you can go to hell with your pig insulin. That is why genetic engineers came and asked, by the way, if Nancy is not diabetic, the DNA in her genome is certainly that encodes for insulin is okay. So that is the section that was removed, put into a recombinant DNA platform and put into E. coli, and ask yourself, why E. coli? E. coli is a normal flora that is in your stomach, because if we would use something else, you would start asking, now that thing that has given that insulin, is it safe? The E. coli is in your stomach, so what has been done in that is that it's now secreting the insulin into the media that can now be purified, and then you get your insulin. That is GMO, prescribed, and it is happening, and we don't own that technology. So this story is about who owns the technology. Do we own it? How did we get ourselves to buy the GMO insulin? If you look at the Gaucher's disease, if you look at the ZMAP and COVID, and thank you for bringing this up, COVID, those were all recombinant, DNA. And we were here and we queued to it. I was waiting for those aunties to go there and say, don't queue. I really waited. And nothing popped up, but we never talked about it. So many other things are happening, even in the cancer research, gene therapy, and all these things. Because listen, if there is a cell that is dividing uncontrollably, my postdoc was with Pfizer, so I did a lot of drug discovery, making drugs for cancer and this malaria and stuff. And therefore, when people talk about disease, I'm just like, good people, we are missing the point as a country. And that's why I want to connect this, and I don't want to spend a lot more time on this agricultural health and stuff, because already it has been ably said here by James and Martin. But just to say, we can improve nutrition. Because what is it that is called biofortification? There is something in the DNA that is actually expressing that. Disease-resistant crop. When you make a crop that is resistant to disease, it means that you're reducing chemicals, and James talked about it. That means you are actually reducing also the concentration of chemicals in the environment that eventually have impacts on health. Reduce mycotoxin. Mycotoxin and fungi stuff. How do you also deal with that? They are controlled by the genome. Improve medicinal. Any person who tells you, I want to go natural, I want these synthetic drugs are not, that natural thing that it's a plant. That thing you are pulling from them are called secondary metabolites. They are produced through a pathway that is guided. What genetic engineering does is to empower that pathway so that you get more of that what you want. And this can be done through the stress-inducible promoters. And you get your stuff happening. Diagnosis and all this. Very, very important. But with all that, good people, and let me take you to the areas that you like. What do we see? That is what you are familiar with. GMOs. Those guys, they are injecting stuff on the maize. There is nothing like this. I can tell you, Zubeda, if this was true right now, because some people have eaten, some sausages, you will be pigs. Because you have eaten that with it. This is not true. You will be walking nature walk. By the time you are ending on the other side, you eat maize, you start seeing leaves popping up because you are eating with the DNA. There is nothing like this. I can tell you most of these people have done genetic engineering. This is not how we do it. We can't inject. If that were the case, we wouldn't be here. But this is what is selling in your platform. They will tell you, the GMO people, bad. Outside apple, inside orange. These guys are not orange. As if apple and oranges are not edible, assuming that it was possible. So what is it? So they'll tell you, inside, those things are crying. This, and I like them because they know how to communicate. This is just somebody cutting a pilipili and then baking it, and it makes sense. They are communicating. This is what we can't do as scientists. Very nice stuff. We don't want this. And then the worst, we are told they cause cancer. And you know why they picked cancer? And I don't know why they have not picked diabetes. Do you know if cancer is caused by mutation? And therefore, if it is really true that it's causing, this thing's called cancer, it can also, but we can't talk about diabetic because that one we already have a drug. So they'll tell you, cause cancer. Seeds can't germinate. You have heard all this, and there is a presentation by Meme about the myths and whatever. They can't germinate, and it causes impotence. Infertility. I can tell you, if it's true that it causes infertility, once ladies are done with their giving birth, the kind of money that they're spending on contraceptives, you will not afford GMO. We will sell it as a drug. It will never be available. There are enough men here who have felt that they have already done their bit, they don't want babies anymore, they will be enjoying GMO, and we will sell it so expensive. You will never get it. So it is just the same nonsense you hear when they tell you that sugar has been contaminated by 80% mercury. If sugar has been contaminated by 80% mercury, that is not sugar. That is mercury contaminated by sugar. And you can't even afford it, will not even get into this country. That is very expensive. And that is the kind of stories you hear. It's the same madness you hear here. At the biodiversity, when you spread, how can it not affect biodiversity? And yet you are reducing spray. You are reducing some of these things. They tell you GMO, multinational, Monsanto. They still talk about Monsanto. Any person mentioning Monsanto is ignorant. Monsanto doesn't exist. It was bought years ago by Bayer, but they are still telling you Monsanto. You are like, what's going on here? Who controls research? Whoever controls, I think Piper does controls the tune. We are borrowing from China and all over. Is this country China? So does it become special if there is support for research? Then, good people, this is where I request you, editors, please help us out. How did we get here? Did KPLC get into this house, or this person built on this KPLC? How did we get here? And we want to speak to your souls, because you are the people who actually control the kind of information. But I can tell you from where we sit, it is because we are being misunderstood. There's a lot of thinking that we are doing. People don't understand what we are doing. And we are being misunderstood. This guy is just waiting for a serious slap because the lady is expecting a proposal and the guy is tying his shoelaces. This is where we are in this debate. And everybody is only seeing risks. You get what I mean? When you talk GMO, they only see that big ballers is coming to kill the whole world. But that is not true. If you bother to listen to what we do, you will realize that that was just a superimposed. This is the real situation. It wasn't that bad, really. But we are never given the chance to really explain what exactly are we sorting out. And there's a lot of fear of the unknown. People just fear new things. Like this guy, actually, is going to struggle in my village. Well, how do you use your hair like that? Hair superstition. But he is innovative. He doesn't want to buy the cup. He's okay. But it won't pass. This is the struggle that GMO we are struggling with. People just feel. Just because it's new does not mean that it's bad. All we keep saying, good people, is that allow these technologies to coexist. We must allow the technology. We are not telling, there are people who can't eat omena. Do you know omena? It's a delicacy, I eat it a lot more. But there are people who cannot eat it. They say those small little things, they look at you as you swallow them. What's not? But it's not bad, it's not even GMO. So the choice and preference for food is something else. So what we are saying, let GMO be there. Let those who want to take with those who don't want. It's okay. It is our country. That's fine. That's actually all we are requesting for. That is the reason it is important that you are here. Editors, please be this one. Stop this madness. Just step back. There's a lot of fire. Just step back. Please guide this discussion correctly with the right information. Involve us. We will be available to explain this thing. I know when you do that, you will be labeled like you are now bought by Monsanto. You are just be strong and just be just like this monkey. Just hit the nail. It's okay. When something happens, it's okay. We will label you, but please just be firm. We are here. We are all